Indeed. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final day of the CIS Qualifiers here for the Kiev Major. It's Team Spirit taking on Na'Vi. The winner of this best of three will move along in our bracket. They will face Team Empire, the winner of that. We'll play Virtus Pro, all BF3s, and the ultimate victor will represent the CIS at the Kiev Major. I'm LD. I'm joined here today by the one and only Gareth.
Hello.
How you doing, Gareth?
I'm good. I'm excited for this. Na'Vi, I didn't get to watch too much during the group stage, but obviously, caught up on their drafts and kind of realized that teams don't want to play against the Magnus of Dendy. It's pretty much first banned in the majority of the games, and the one game that they won yesterday against VP, they did have the Magnus. So good realization and continuation by Spirit just to take it out of the game.
Yeah, they're moving right away. Also Centaur getting the ban. Who's had mixed results, some wins, some losses. I think Ursa one of the better counters to him just because he does so well in the lane against him. But they opt to ban it. They grab the premier, I won't call it offlaner, but initiator in the Slardar, who's usually a support. Na'Vi with the Ogre Lifestealer reply, and then Spirit do get their hands on the Ursa, who's great against Lifestealer. So yeah, I'm liking this Spirit opening quite a bit myself so far. And I guess my big question, Gareth, is what is Dendy going to play with the Magnus ban? Because he really hasn't had that big of an impact in this qualifier.
No. I mean, Invoker's still one of his, big heroes, and it's still a very important hero in this patch. With, with the new talents coming out, we've seen a kind of switch to a Wexort heavy build, where you kind of go 1 or 2 in class, and then you've got Alacrity for laning stage, Meatball and Sunstrike are very important as well.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, I don't know what big heroes he could be picking up to, look to playmake with. Puck isn't really played anymore in the mid lane. We see it occasionally off lane, but that was one of Dendy's kind of mainstay heroes. Outside of that, it's difficult to see what they're going to be aiming for.
Yeah, I mean, there's other heroes that go well with the Lifestealer, right? Like Storm comes to mind. Not something Dendy has played so much of. They've run a little bit of Sniper with so-so results. I don't know that Sniper is really the hero you want against this particular lineup because Slardar and Ursa are just such good gap closers. Yeah. They both always get the blink. You have Sprint to worry about. So far, no sign of a defensive support either. Or like a good bodyguard. I mean, Ogres, can hit heroes, but he can't really stop them from jumping the Sniper.
Well, Sniper's taken out, but yeah, usually Sniper's kind of paired up with Slardar, right? You've got the Corrosive Haze, the Vision, the long range from Sniper to kill people off. But I almost feel like Na'Vi were forced to pick Lifestealer to not let Spirit have the Slardar Lifestealer combo, because that is like close to broken, right? With minus armor plus Echo Saber plus Desolate, so you just rip people to bits in like 2 or 3 hits.
Yeah, it's really easy kill potential, for sure. They need a vehicle. So you mentioned Puck. I think Puck's still a consideration as far as like a Dendy hero, but not really that popular in the meta. I don't think the silence is all that great this game. Ursa Slardar both tend to get BKB. Yeah, he can kite them, but I don't think he really offers enough damage necessarily.
Maybe they look to their offlane for the vehicle. General Bat or Nyx or
Batrider could be
like
nice here.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Nyx not too bad either, I suppose, though he doesn't lane well against Ursa.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. So that's the thing about the Ursa pick, right, is it really limits those offlane options. At least if you want to win the lane.
A couple of CIS teams, actually I think it was Spirit yesterday that did it. They ran Bat Ogre dual lane against a dual lane or defensive sort of 2.5 lane of Empire, and they crushed. I've never seen a lane win that hard. It was just a PMS Ogre, and he threw Bloodlust on Batrider with Sticky Napalm level 1.
Ran at them.
And you just ran at them. The opponent's lane had like a Drow Ranger or something in it, but it was pretty nasty, honestly. The amount of aggression you can get out of an Ogre, and they're gonna go for the Bat. I would love to see them do a similar thing.
Yeah, General Bat, definitely one of his signature heroes. It is something Dendy has played historically a little bit in the mid lane back when he was more popular there, but I expect it will be General handling it, as you said. So, yeah, the other big Dendy hero that you mentioned is the Invoker. Not a very good win rate. I do think he matches up pretty well against Slardar and Ursa, especially in the overall grand scheme of things. And Spirit going to grab the Disruptor here. Not very good against Lifestealer. Or necessarily the Batrider bombs. If you don't see them coming, he just jumps you, Lifestealer pops out. You're pretty much dead anyway.
I think Invoker has problems this game looking at the two drafts because usually with Invoker you either want to, break even in your lane with farm, or you want to, well, you don't want to lose your lane, but if you lose your lane, you want to be able to come back with Sunstrike kills, and they don't really have too many good ways to enable Sunstrike kills outside of open wounds.
Definitely. No, they have nothing.
Like a couple of slows really isn't enough. Usually we see Slardar and Rubik and Shadow Demon to kind of enable that. So if they do want to pick Invoker, I think it might have to be 5th pick. But a Lesh.
All right, the RMN Leshrac, yeah, we saw it yesterday. I guess he's one of the few players that is running the hero right now. Generally goes actually for the Lightning Storm build, at least early. Not sure how they're going to look to like move around here. I guess Ogre Lesh is a pretty strong roaming duo. It does give them some tower siege. They're very lacking on that right now. So, but that said, he generally doesn't go for Edict that early. He gets it more like level 5 to 7. He'll take like a point somewhere in there usually.
So he actually maxes Lightning Storm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At least with the game that I was watching, he was favoring it. So yeah, Spirit have great pickoff, right? They have the amplify damage to set up Glimpse. Really good single target burst. They're great at taking Roshan. Navi, on the other hand, pretty good vision game, I guess, with the Batrider around the pit and good kiting, but no real saves for when heroes get jumped. And I mean, Lesh is another squishy. So
yeah, I mean you can kite Ursa, sure, but when you've got heroes like you said with Disruptor being able to glimpse one target back, he's always going to have that one guy to munch down on, and that likely will give Spirit the numbers advantage in a lot of these team fights unless Navi can come out of the laning stage with a decent lead. That's why these dual lanes from Navi have to go well. Leshrac and Lifesteal have got open wounds into stun. Sure, that's great, but are you going to be able to farm off the back of that? Because Lesh isn't great if he's played... No, none of these heroes from Navi are great if they're played... if the opponent plays aggressively into them.
Well, speaking of aggression, now you have 3 great Iron Shell heroes as they grab the Darkseer. And they could definitely run at you. You're not running away from Spirit. Maybe the Lifestealer can like rage TP out, but that's basically
10 seconds remaining.
Darkseer Slardar. The sprint Iron Shell combo.
I do like the Ember ban here because I feel like Navi are in danger of just getting overwhelmed. The other mids that we've seen from Spirit this qualifier are Shadow Fiend, TA. I don't think you want TA against Batrider Leshrac. Even Ogre's Ignite. That's like too many ways to break Refraction, to kite him. They've also run Invoker themselves.
5 seconds
though
remaining.
That's a pretty greedy draft.
Yeah,
I guess if they want Quaswex Evoker, it could work.
Yeah, especially with Darkseer in your off lane. He is like one of the greediest off laners. And you can play aggressively with him, but he still needs a lot of farm to get up to par.
What else have they run? They ran Dragon Knight one game.
Yeah.
Ooh. Haven't seen much of him lately.
It didn't do very well.
They did not win that game.
No. That was game 1 against Empire yesterday.
Okay.
They got absolutely 16.5 minutes. They're done. Stomped.
Marana? I like Marana. They don't have the best setup, though, is the only issue. But it gives them some magic damage. They're pretty... I guess they have an okay mix already. But it gives them a range damage dealer as well with Ursa to frontline.
10 seconds remaining.
They'll make this last ban here against Navi. Navi going to be looking for the Dendi hero. What is the Dendimon going to be handling?
Dire team pick.
Sniper band. We talked about the Invoker. Not Tinker. Storm, I still look at as like a hero that there's pretty natural synergy with now.
Yeah.
The Disruptor is a problem in the early to mid game. At some point, you'll get the VKB or the Lincolns, but
Weaver.
Spirit going for the Weaver. So that Aghanim's Weaver could be the Batrider counter, potentially. We saw a big Ags Weaver performance from Mineski versus TNC just recently.
That was huge.
Yeah, that game too was hype.
Spirit still have the option to run, Ursa mid or Weaver mid if they want to. They've got pretty open lanes. We've seen a fair amount from the CIS region of the Poor Man Shield mid Ursa with the help of like a Disruptor and just run at people.
Yeah. Other like popular hero this qualifier has been the Juggernaut. I don't think Jug is very good against Ursa Slardar though. Nor do I think he's got great synergy with Lifestealer. But if they wanted to run like a melee hero mid, then definitely Ursa can go there.
Shadow Fiend.
But they go for the Dendi Shadow Fiend. I mean, it's scary running Shadow Fiend this game. I gotta tell you, like even if he has a good laning stage, Ursa and Slardar do not need many items to jump and kill an SF.
I guess the thing you're looking at is Shadow Fiend probably goes to the Shadow Blade, stays in fog the majority of the game, and just hides behind his team while
But
Ogre.
they're so good at chasing. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Na'Vi really have to have a good laning stage here. If it's an even laning stage, like they're just gonna get run over in the mid game. There's no save for Shadow Fiend. Leshrac is a really squishy support hero. Ogre's basically just a walking bloodlust. You've got Lifestealer who can't manfight Ursa Slardar.
Team Spirit from level 1 can just run at you, right? Na'Vi need items. They need Armlet, they need Blink, they need Shadow Fiend to have Dragonlance. There are so many sort of key timings that they need to
10
hit
seconds
to actually
remaining.
use their heroes properly or at all.
I mean,
5
I
seconds
I
remaining.
strongly prefer the Spirit Draft personally, but I think the one way where Na'Vi can...
You prefer aggression.
Yeah, I think Shadow Fiend is a hero that suffers when people run at him, and there's no way to save him. They don't have a Dazzle, they don't have a Shadow Demon, they don't have a great team fight counter initiator, like a Centaur, like a Magnus.
And there's no support that can farm a Force or a Glimmer Cape very quickly.
Right, Batrider could maybe get one, but still, like, are you really getting away anyway? They can glimpse you back, they're going to amp you, they're likely to have Weaver chasing you, sir.
With Swarm on you.
Yeah, I think where
yeah.
Na'Vi can... If Na'Vi's going to win this, they have to have General making a lot of plays early on the Batrider, taking some fast towers with the Leshrac, and Shadow Fiend just completely dominating his lane. Otherwise, I just don't see them doing well this game. So, I'm loving Spirit's draft. I'm not feeling it for Na'Vi, Gareth.
Yeah, I'm worried about General. You mentioned you feel he needs to make plays in this game, and I mentioned the Ogre plus Bat potential dual offlane. But if you've got SF and Lifestealer who both need supporting as well, do you just leave your Bat alone and give him the offlane and say you do what you can, try and farm, maybe go back into the jungle? Or do you maybe give General a bit more room in the first couple of levels to try and bolster the Batrider, get him to level 2 or 3, and maybe put a bit of pressure on Team Spirit? It's honestly a very hard choice.
Yeah, that's where Spirit have like their options, right? Because their laning heroes are very difficult to gank, relatively strong. Like Darkseer is going to get his farm. Weaver, a hero that they don't have too much kill potential on, I would say, unless they want to commit both supports to that lane. In which case, you're giving the Ursa free reign, and Slardar can get a lot done. So it's a pick your poison situation for Na'Vi is kind of how I see it.
I like that from RMN, actually warding and centering up his own camp so Darkseer can't stack and contest and pull it.
Yeah, that's nice. See the Dire Ward go down a bit more difficult to deward this one off to the side.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that ward dewarded, because so often the sentry goes down here to catch the one on this high ground, or it goes further up north to catch one of the hilltop ones.
Yeah. And
30
that's kind of
seconds
the
to
idea
battle.
with it, I guess. It's in a little bit more of an awkward position, but far less likely to get dewarded.
And they'll be able to see when the Ogre and Leshrac come in as well, seeing as it will be Iceberg mid on the Ursa.
Okay. So it's going to be Ursa mid against Shadow Fiend. I actually think Ursa does pretty well in this lane, all things considered, because you have the superior move speed, right? So you can always threaten to run at the Shadow Fiend. If you get boots first, and he doesn't have anyone supporting him, he doesn't
battle
TP out right away, you
begins.
can actually solo kill the Shadow Fiend. So
Like, Earthshock has a 5-second cooldown. It's ridiculously good. I saw it in a pub game not too long ago where
the Max Urshock build.
Max Earthshock, but it was against the Batrider, and this Ursa just said, I play Ursa mid, I will win against Batrider, don't worry. And we're just like, but Bat's going to own you, dude. He's just going to sticky napalm, he's going to Firefly, you're going to die. He just Earthshocks, turns and fights, runs the other guy down.
So they're
Ursa's like a lane winner.
They're gonna dual lane this, and with the dual lane and the help early of the Lesh, I think that he probably does okay. But again, you got to be careful. Like if you get crushed near the Ursa, could easily be a first blood. So, but they'll play it safe here. FNG gonna take some heavy punishment. The other lane, Ogre Batrider top. This is a really strong dual lane. So this I think will give Spirit some problems. But as far as here's the lane against Bat, like Weaver's one of the best, right? You get a magic stick and all that napalm just fuels your Sakuchi.
Yeah, and the Ignite as well being spammed out by Viva. But this means that Lifesteal has been given the 1v1 Pycat up against DK Phobos on the bot lane, and this is what I was kind of alluding to, what I was worried about when they were making this decision, is how much emphasis is Dendi's getting run down mid. There's another Earthshock soon.
This is, again, 2v1, but Ursa is just so tanky. 6 armor plus the poor man shield. Now, granted, he's lacking on regen, but we'll try to grab the boots, then go back for the healing salve. And, you know, even if Shadow Fiend farms, like, trading farm, I don't really feel that's enough given how easily killed he will be later on. So.
And you're not stacking camps or anything for SF. You know, you're very, very dedicated to these lanes as Na'Vi.
Yeah, I keep on, I guess, at least for me, I'm highlighting how much I feel like Spirit have the superior draft. But the one thing I am a little worried about for them is FNG getting farmed, because Slardar doesn't need a whole lot, but he is their primary initiator, right? They don't have anyone else who has a reliable catch aside from the glimpse for a single target, and he's just roaming right now, not CSing or pulling at all. They're gonna move in here though. They find the crush. RMN getting caught out. Iceberg there with the clap. Good body blocking, Gareth. Looks like the first blood. One more hit.
Yeah, they've got him.
They're just so squishy.
They really wanted Dendi, but he did a few little sort of micro moves to dodge out from Earthshock to get himself away from that Slardar who was waiting on top of the ramp for him. So they give the Leshrac, but they keep Dendi alive, but still a great kill there from Spirit. And you mentioned FNG and his farm and where he's going to get it from. He has been really the key player on these key heroes for Spirit throughout the group stage, at the beginning of the playoffs, playing Rubik and Slardar, and he's the glue that holds the team together, right? He moves between lanes, he initiates, he starts team fights, he's the one making the calls, and he's the one starting every initiation. If he has a rough game, the entire team has a rough game.
Yeah, so they give up the kill in the mid lane. Ursa significantly out-CSing Shadow Fiend already, and that is not a good sign. If he gets phase boots first, he really can threaten for kills here. Dendi, no TP scroll yet, but we'll need to start carrying one soon. Unless our man is just going to permanently affix himself to late, in which case you're leeching XP from a hero that's extremely XP dependent in the Shadow Fiend.
But he needs to do it, right? He needs to be nearby.
And all the while, like, Pycat, bottom lane, just trading with Darkseer. Off lane, Batrider, behind, or sorry, even with the Weaver on CS. Now, granted, Weaver's experience suffering a little bit, but he's been pressured a lot, and he's sharing it with the Disruptor. So, yeah, late's going really well for Spirit.
Yeah, and we mentioned in the draft that Darkseer is one of those greedier offlaners, needs the gold, needs the levels to actually build up into your Arcanes, your mech, and then into sort of level 7, 8 when you've got some more levels in a vacuum. But giving a 1v1 to a DS like this, sure, Pycat's going to have that, kind of jump into the mid game with his great farm, and they're going to have General to carry him around. But with a counter initiation from Darkseer always available, it's scary.
The 3-hero rotation mid, they can't even kill the Ursa. And, that's the difference between Ursa and Shadow Fiend, right? Like, if that's a Shadow Fiend getting caught mid, he's dead. But Ursa just able to soak up that damage and walk away. Uh-oh.
Well, 3.5 second cooldown on Earthshock's pretty good, I heard.
Yeah, looking for more as they're going to dive Viper, the Ogre, McGee under the tower. He'll go down to a quick double kill for Iceberg. And again, it goes back to what we said as soon as the draft did. Like, Spirit is going to run at you. What are you going to do about it? And the answer, apparently, so far for Na'Vi is not a whole lot.
Just sit back and take it.
I mean, you could carry a TP, and in some cases that might let you get away, but Dendi TPing in mid, he's going to miss a raise, he gets glimpsed back, that leaves Viper alone, but likely goes down again here. Iceberg whiffing on his clap, but it's not going to matter, should be able to run him down. The Bear already grabbing, I believe that's his third kill of the game.
3-0-1.
That's your phase boots for Iceberg, and level 5 to boot. And Dendi has to take the walk of shame back down mid.
And Pycat is having to infest creeps, run away from DK Phobos. He's getting sort of shoved away. The farm is being traded decently, but this Darkseer is having such a great time on the bottom lane.
It's it's to me like all in general right now. And the thing is, General's not doing that great. 16 CS. He has no real stacks to speak of right now, so yeah, he's not going to have a fast Blake.
And that's the trouble with the aggro dual lane, right? The Ogre was there, and it enables the Batrider to not feed, but it doesn't enable the Batrider to win the lane and crush the Weaver, like I said, with the Shikuchi and the Magic Stick, or the Magic Wand now, 11 charges on it. Weaver is under no threat of dying, at all. So General just has to kind of sit here and leech experience a bit, take a few CS here and there. And Na'Vi are very, very poor at rotating to lanes and making things happen, or stopping things from what Spirit are doing.
Oh, FNG might find a solo kill here on RMN, who is out of mana, and that indeed is the case. All right, Slardar heating up. I mentioned maybe struggling for levels. Gareth, he is already level 4. As a roaming Slardar has been involved in, I want to say, almost every kill at this point.
2-1-3 on Slardar, yeah, you're right.
In fact, it is every single kill. That is absolutely brutal. Weaver not level 6, though. This could be a big opportunity for General as he chases forward. He's already committed everything, though. The Flame Break, it's not enough. BZZ able to simply stick up, walks away. The one hero who needs to have a big impact, unable to do so, and now they might look to pincer Dendi in the mid lane.
The more I think and look at this Na'Vi draft, the weirder it gets, right? They've got very little catch and kill. Sure, when Batrider gets blinked, they can lasso someone in, but they don't have any great nuke damage to instantly take out a target. Maybe they can find the Weaver here.
Would be a nice pick off, and finally Na'Vi get on the board on this top lane. 2-5, 2-5, I should say, the score. But still, hard-fought kills for them, and they'll need more of that as they look to continue pursuit for sticky napalm stacks up on Vangscore. Not going to go fully just yet. You can see DK Phobos now, as you point out earlier, can just take advantage of the jungle, shove in the lane, farm the enemy newts, and snowball his experience in gold.
I actually wonder why he's not cutting creep wave at all. Forcing Lifestealer to like farm under tower and maybe the tower tanks a couple of hits would be pretty nice.
Maybe a bit worried about getting ganked should he be out of position like that. It doesn't have a TP scroll right now. But definitely 1v1 against Lifestealer, you can cut the wave, and unless he gets help, there's not a whole lot he can do about it.
Well, Dendi has to go back into the jungle and farm. He doesn't even have treads. Oh, his bottle's empty. Aquila Brown Boots Magic Wand. I mean, by like 10, 11 minutes, you kind of want to have your treads, Aquila, and almost half your Dragonlance, but
yeah,
Dendi's been completely shut down.
He is a very poor Shadow Fiend. When Ursa's ahead of you in CS at this stage of the game, you know you're in trouble. I mean, you should be ahead just by, you know, in theory, because of your ability just to clear stacks with the Shadow Rays. And the thing is, you can't really bully the Ursa when he's got the phase boots advantage, because he can always threaten to run at you if you play too aggressively in the lane. So, Dendi kind of chipping at distance here, but not having an easy time of it.
And once again, FNG's running down into that Radiant jungle, and he finds a ward. I guess he had his down much earlier and saw the one placed out.
Yeah, he saw that get dropped. So some free gold for him. FNG up to 600, so well on his way to the blink.
RMN angrily scribbling on the map. This top lane needs to be killed, guys.
Yeah, let's just eradicate the entire upper quadrant of the map. How's that sound?
I mean, they need to do they need to make action happen. They need to do something. It's just so hard to say what that something is.
Well, while they're busy parking multiple heroes up top, Dendi is not safe, so he has to leave the mid lane. As Iceberg pushes in, you can see the rotation is actually headed Dendi's way. But you could really feel the pressure. Like, looking from the Radiant side, they have no vision of their jungle. There's currently 4 heroes off the map. They're going to try and gank this Weaver, but it's not the easiest kill. BZZ well behind the tower and safely tucked away.
I actually quite like this move from Na'Vi, sending 3 or 4 top, as long as Dendi doesn't get caught.
Oh, as you say that. Hello, Shadow Friend. I'll give you a hug.
TPs are coming in.
Might get a kill here on Vangscore, though. Dendi manning up, but if they can get the Shadow Fiend kill, it's well worth it anyway. A 2-hero crush. Pycat slow in the rage. Iceberg could maybe try and fight him. Worried about additional reinforcements. Oh, he's going to cancel that TP. And look to fight.
And now top lane, the chase is on. BZZ, oh, he gives up. He's running into Ogre and Batrider. Maybe not the best fight to be taking. But Pycat was shoving bot lane. They had 3 top. I think if Dendi had maybe moved up towards his own top tier 1 and joined the rest of his team, I would have really liked that move, just shoving the 2 side lanes, because if the roaming gank comes into the Lifestealer, he can just rage TP. There's nothing to stop it outside of a bash from FNG, which he hasn't even skilled up just yet. Whereas if Spirit roam into the 4-man of Na'Vi, I think Na'Vi are in a good position if they're the ones being initiated on.
They want to punish FNG for constantly infesting this woods, flame breaking him back. It's not quite enough for the kill. In fact, Iceberg wanting to go into the tower, a bold move considering Lasso is ready. He'll be punished for it. Not sure if he thought it got dropped earlier in the top lane.
And it's stuff like that where I kind of want Na'Vi to be grouping up as 4 or maybe 5 and letting Spirit run into them, because at this point, when a Sticky Napalm and Shadow Fiend's got his level 1 Requiem, they've got so many things that can happen as the initiation is occurring from Team Spirit that does damage or slows or offsets the team fight or disrupts. what Spirit are planning to do, that they can actually create enough chaos in a team fight to maybe find an initial pick before Spirit can do anything. Alright, man. Oh, Leshrac is so weak.
Oh, he still gets the kill. That's brutal. Leshrac down again. It's a squishy support, and there's just not a whole lot he can do. He instantly TP'd there too.
Yeah, there was no way out. General with the drums. Batrider drums, not something we've seen in a long time. Usually it's kind of just the Tranquil's Windlace, and maybe a Magic Wand into Blink.
I think he's just thinking, like, how good is a Blink Dagger really in this game when they have a Disruptor? Can I really count on, like, a Blink Lasso to actually catch someone, kidnap them, and not just have it broken immediately? So better to be tankier, able to stay in the fights longer.
And run away faster.
Yeah, that too. Here comes the big fight in the mid lane. Static Storm getting dropped. They have managed to cage the Lifestealer. Could be trouble as the vacuum back comes. They look for the turn. Iceberg low, but not finished off. Still holds the Aegis, though. And they can continue pursuit here. FNG threatening to go in a bit deeper. They cage Dendy. Now they look for the crush. There it goes. The follow-up damage coming through. But a great 2-hero stun by the Lesh might be enough to salvage this fight. The wall still forcing Na'Vi back. They're going to try and kidnap DK Phobos. FNG gets dragged to deeper. And there's the crush. Looking for a bit more. He finds the Shadow Feet kill yet again. Pycat on the chase. Open wounds there. He's looking for backup. He's going to find it in the form of an Aegis getting popped in. Now the Weaver getting a bit overeager. Has to time-lapse back towards safety. Iceberg still looking for that fight. He might come out of the trees, but Pycat armlet toggling for all he's worth, trying to bait that bear in.
Hey, Weaver.
Want some honey? Want some honey? Yeah, bear. But they will in the end up disengaging. So they lose the Aegis, they lose the Slardar. They get 2 though, and again the Shadow Fiend dying. He's only at 18 souls. He's just not having an easy time staying alive.
You can't even see the Iron Shell on Weaver. He just runs up to you and you're thinking, how am I taking so much bloody damage? Ogre got ripped apart there. Just by that Iron Shell. Pycat TP's in aggressively. Going on Iceberg, but not going to find anything.
Oh god, Dendy just got glimpsed back again. Oh, this poor Shadow friend.
Yeah. He's not going to have his Dragonlance for another minute and a half or something anyway, so. Back to the jungle he goes.
Dendy is getting all too accustomed to this walk back down from the mid lane. Poor guy.
Just keep on going.
But yeah, for Team Spirit, kind of looking at their overall game plan here. So initial objective was just run at the Shadow Fiend early, pressure him a lot, and get to the mid game. Take Roshan. I think the next big step, farming FNG's Blink Dagger.
I think RMN might die top. BZZ. Has the trap been set?
Ooh, nice stun. But do they have to follow up?
Looks like they might do. One more hit. Oh, Infest. Barely had him.
That was with the Dragonlance pickup, so a crucial kill for Na'Vi. That's something they need to get a little more of, because once that Blink comes out from Slardar, next round of aggression will be there. Phobos, though, caught off on an island here, will be punished and picked off as FNG comes in a bit late. Now the Troll Trap. It is that Dominator build initially here on the Darkseer, now going to be going back for a mech.
Yeah, it's so good. The dummy allows you to kind of split push and shove waves without putting your hero into danger.
Well, unless you want to. In this case, Dendy, though, trying to rev up the Requiem, but the Static Storm gets dropped. That's going to prevent things. Bang score. Now trying to retreat. The rest of the team in a bit of trouble. A predicament developing as Na'Vi. Oh, there you go. They turn on the Shadow Fiend. They'll pop him like a pinata. Turning on the General. Iceberg trying to pound down this bat, but he's hard to chase. BZZ.
Time lapse in one.
And he's not going to use it just yet. He would be quite low if he time-lapsed.
Oh my god.
And now baits him. Goes the other direction down to the south. Doesn't have a TP. Scrolly winds his way through the trees.
Where's he going?
But Leshrac has the vision. The Flame Break's going to connect, and BZZ is not perfect this day. He will go down 2. 4 kills. Na'Vi. Team fighting their way back into it.
4 for 1. Na'Vi, I mean, Dendy managed to get out of the Static Storm, launch out his Requiem, got a couple of good raises down, and that was Slardar as well as Disruptor pretty much dead and out of the fight. Then the rest of Spirit filter in, but Pycat had arrived. He's got his armlet, he's got this Blightstone, and he is shredding people. He's almost this invisible force. They're not focusing on Pycat. They don't realize he's in this team fight because they're so set on killing Dendy. Just kill Dendy, that's all they want to do. And the Lifestealer is just running rampant in their backlines.
Yeah, I do think Dendy needs to go like pure like defensive tank build. You can't go for anything too greedy.
Hurricane Pike, BKB, Lincoln Sphere, Butterfly
yeah,
Heart.
like I have Scotty, perhaps Manta, pretty good against the Slardar, but
yeah.
You can't get greedy with your items here. They are going to be running at you all game. Getting a Shadow Blade will not save you, nor will a Blink Dagger. If they amp you, they can just glimpse you back. they can carry dust on any of these initiators and catch you off guard or potentially be dropping sentries. So
yeah, I think BKB Butterfly then Scud is probably going to be the best option here. Ursa never wants to buy an MKB. He kind of just wants to go into the Aghanim Scepter, Abyssal Blade, and he can get very slot starved. With the Helm of the Dominator especially, your slots start to run out very quickly in that stash, in that inventory.
Spirit really do need this FNG Blink though. Ursa has his, and right now is the stage of the game where you really want to just be jumping on the Shadow Fiend or one of these squishy supports and finding easy kills. So until they have that, Na'Vi will have the initiation advantage.
Na'Vi have actually swung a 3k net worth lead. They've done reasonably well here to maybe equalize this game, but it's they're not out of the woods yet by any means. This is where Team Spirit have one of their biggest spikes now. The mech is it's back in the base. I thought DK Phobos would be joining his team with the mech, but Na'Vi go in.
They do go in, but the quick glimpse back, Infest, Lifestealer popping out, and now trying to turn and run away. The Swarm allows the disengage. That's where the drums first makes a lot of sense. But now he's going to find the follow-up blast. So onto the Weaver, who gets completely shade stunned, brought down, stuck around a bit too long. Might be able to kill up Vainscore as well. Pycat mauling him. Ooh, close call. But Vainscore will slip away. The Dino makes it home to safety.
I was looking at that from the Dire team and thinking, right, this is where they're super strong. They've got their 4 heroes top. Darkseer's on his way. He must have mech, right? But it was back in base, back in his stash, and he couldn't get it out to himself on time. And that's where Team Spirit kind of realized, okay, we don't have our big team fight hero with our one team fight item. It's time to retreat. But getting caught on the run away there by General's Batrider as always. Great idea to jump in and find that one target.
Uh-oh, Lifestealer has a Desolator now. This could be a bad time for Spirit to try to take a fight. Na'Vi just hitting big item timings. As you mentioned, the net worth really has swung. Now, General, we've seen the Blink in action. The Deso comes out. Aside from that, Shadow Fiend already having picked up the Dragon Lance, now well on his way to the BKB.
Leshrak's Buckler is actually very important.
Yes.
It honestly, it's so weird to think about it, but just that Buckler on Leshrak, allows him to maybe survive through the Weaver swarming and right-clicking him, the minus armor from Slardar, and obviously physical attacks out from Iceberg's Ursa. But it's one of those cool little, casual bucklers, the puppy special, that RMN following suit.
Yeah, so Na'Vi with all these pickups and, like the Buckler that you were talking about, the Shadow Fiend going for BKB, their team fight does level up a lot. And it's more stage of the game for Spirit where they're looking for pickoffs, they're looking to spread the map. Not as good in the 5-man scenario. Yeah, they have the Darkseer mech, but it's still only a level 1 wall. He doesn't have a blink to reliably set it up. They did just grab a Slardar blink, but aside from that, they're very single target focused. So they'll be looking to spread the map. Na'Vi more looking for the group up and team fight style as they make that move towards the top lane.
I have vision over them. Disruptor gets just far enough away. General's still waiting though with the Ogre next to him. Team Spirit have realized what's going on, and like you said, they're just going to try and split around a little bit more. With Slardar Blink, they might want to think about a smoke. He does have a DD as well, but they don't have any intel on where Na'Vi are, so actually smoking up blind into the enemy side of the map, it's such a risky proposition that they're going to go for it anyway. They've got no observer wards. They try to scan in their own jungle, maybe expecting Na'Vi to be sitting there, but look at the big purple circle drawn by RMN saying, guys, they're here somewhere. Roshan could be respawning now. In fact, will be 2.5 minutes. But Spirit wasting their time.
Yeah, Na'Vi, though, to be fair, not exactly farming a whole lot right now. They're sitting back very defensively as well, but it doesn't seem the smoke will amount to too much. It's about to wear off. Roshan could have respawned. This is like the earliest possible time. And now Na'Vi's turn for a smoke. They know the Rosh is the big objective here. Spirit could be sneaking it.
Look at all these Helm of the Dominator creeps. Just what's going on? It's a Hellbear and an Ogre.
Yeah, they went for the double Dominator strat. A lot of scouting tools here, as you mentioned. Good split push.
I don't see anything.
Radiant's bottom tower
Spooky
is
for
under
both
attack.
teams. No one knows where anyone is. The only thing that both teams know is that bottom lane's getting pushed in and no one's defending it. So maybe that's a one-up for Team Spirit, realizing, right, they aren't farming, they aren't holding their lanes, so we can do a little bit of work towards the mid, maybe sit behind the Slardar and just move down into the Radiant jungle because they're definitely not in there.
Just waiting for that one Batrider pick. You get the one lasso kill, and suddenly you're able to take a tower with the Bloodlusted Shadow Fiend, potentially steal the Roshan away. Spirit are very wary of that fact, so they see Na'Vi heroes top. They're going to avoid the fight. They go to the bottom side. And Dendi will grab this tier 2, essentially for free.
I honestly think if General Blink initiates onto anyone, it forces a full 5v5. Team Spirit are in this position where if any one of them gets jumped, they have to try and save them, or they have to try and force a fight around them, and force Na'Vi to get vacuum walled into Static Stormed and be in a position where they kind of concave around the Bat Lasso, right, to kill off that one target.
They'll grab the tower. Still the Weaver Lincoln's a ways off, but to me, like, that Weaver Lincoln's really kind of tells the tale for Spirit as far as how they want to approach the mid game. They're looking very much to split push,
slow things down,
to avoid big team fights. Not really going to be their strong suit for probably the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. Come late game, I think they're fine in those larger scale engagements, but still Shadow Fiend is, with a BKB 10-second duration, is probably at his prime right now as far as overall team fight impact. And here you really want to stay away from.
It's pretty important for both teams to look for the Abyssal Blades.
They found him with the scan.
Ooh.
This could be big. They're actually smoking now. So Na'Vi know they were in the area.
No Firefly though, it's about to expire.
General in a really good position to reveal this and just jump away. And they're actually going to try and steal this Roshan. Will Spirit get there in time? They have the high ground.
This is so risky.
Moving in, they're going to stun Ursa to start things off, but Phobos with the big blink reveal. The Static Storm gets layered right around the area. It will completely control Pycat, bring him down, but Dendi quickly able to unwind with the Requiem, finds one, looking for a second, will lay out Iceberg, and now potentially a third hero as well. 3 Na'Vi heroes hitting the deck. The Ursa, though, down, and after the buyback, Team Spirit scattering a little. Dendi and Pycat standing strong in the pit, with Pycat rejoining the fray. They'll try to bring this Roshan down, but they're not ready to give this up for free. FNG can engage into this. They're lacking the Ursa, though, so they're heavy hitter to deal with Pycat, not on the field.
BZZ on the back, though.
Trying for that opening. FNG gets the crush. Pycat, it could be a dieback for him. He gets inside. Dendi says, "Get me out of here, Dendimon." He'll pop out at the shrine. The glimpse back comes Pycat. Tried to get a little greedy with that pop out for the heal.
Oh my god.
Oh, he barely lives.
What's happening?
Batrider coming in. Is he bringing any sort of regen? Yeah, he's brought a salve out. Pycat with the free fountain trip. General to the rescue.
They need this Roshan now, like desperately need it. I don't know if Pycat wants to go in and hit it because they want the fight to start. And General, Lasso's back one, but FNG's there with a crush, and now Iron Shell burning through them. DK Phobos, what are you doing? Back and back into the kinetic field, and this is time to retreat for Na'Vi, I think. Oh, BZZ, he is actually stunned, and the damage from Leshrak might be enough to finish him off. BZZ dropping lower and lower, but he's got the Shikuchi. Slips himself back away from the trees.
Yeah, they knew there was no Static Storm there. Darkseer wall on cooldown. Ursa only just respawning, so really good time for Na'Vi to fight.
The awkward dance around Roshan ends up with a buyback, 3 team fights, and Team Spirit losing out on Aegis. So I guess, all things said and done, that buyback from Pycat really worked out for them.
That was really close to being a disaster. But
Yeah.
yeah, Pycat survives there. Na'Vi gets the Aegis, and now can siege very effectively with the Shadow Fiend Hurricane Pike, as well as Pycat able to sit up front. You mentioned needing bashers this game for both teams. Ursa, Lifestealer really want that to be able to win the 1v1 man fights, and looks like Pycat going to get his first. As Ursa is not going for an early basher, he'll be going Aghanims. A pretty good tool to deal with the Batrider initiation and just be a very tanky force on the front lines.
Yeah, I think he desperately needs it, like you said, with Lasso, but also with, you know, Bashes and the Abyssal Blade from Pycat will be coming out. Just negate that, make sure that you're able to stick on a target and do some damage. But maybe even with this Abyssal or with the Basher, Pycat will look to kill off someone else in the backlines. You know, Weaver yet to get Lincoln. Oh, is it on the courier? Oh yeah, he's got it now. BZZ actually finishes it at this point. But I was going to say maybe the Weaver or the Darkseer, because Darkseer is honestly the big hero for Team Spirit now. Mech, Blink, Vac, Wall. He is Team Spirit's team fight.
Well, they wanted that like 3-hero Vacuum, Static Storm, Kinetic Field combo. Unfortunately, they only got the Lifestealer, and he had buyback. So you look back at that last fight, if he manages to catch 2-3 heroes, I think they win the fight outright. And Na'Vi either don't buy back or have to blow 2 or 3 if they had them to potentially contest the Roche. But it's not a reliable combo, you know? Like if Lifestealer just quickly rages, he's going to be able to turn the fight around. There's no sign of a Disruptor Eggs, not even remotely close yet to get a single component. Pycat also has Aegis now, so he has a second life, and Dendi has BKB, so it's really tough to rely on that combo.
And Hurricane Pike as well, and there's like no BKBs on the Dire side, right? It's just the Lincolns on the Weaver. But Dendi's next item's the kind of interesting one, deciding to go for the Assault Cuirass. So
yeah,
they
want to be able to take buildings here,
yeah.
And do now have the level 4 Diabolic Edict. He doesn't max the Lightning Storm fully, goes back for Edict, so they have some extra siege, and with that and the AC, towers are going to melt if Na'Vi win fights, and they're looking for one now.
I didn't even think of AC. You know, I wanted Butterfly for Dendi, but I really like this.
Yeah, but still a lot of durability against physical damage, which Spirit are pretty, I wouldn't say all in on, but very predominantly reliant on, as FNG will find General looking for a pickup. There's the counter initiation though. RMN coming in with the stun. The Static Storm gets layered on top of it all. Kinetic Field there, but nobody really caged within. As Pycat mauling the Disruptor will find the quick kill with the Infest at the end to polish it off, and now Na'Vi should be able to take this tower.
And they might even be able to go high ground here. That's Vacuum Wall gone, no Static Storm. Ursa can't really do this. He can't clear waves, and that's something Spirit are really severely lacking.
And they didn't really commit anything. They actually didn't even get the lasso off of that fight. So Na'Vi have the BKB on Dendi. They have the lasso.
There's no glyph. This is a disaster for Team Spirit.
Couple of magnificent fights from Spirit, who do have the Ags now on Iceberg, so not a great lasso target. But hey, he's not defending buildings. He's going to try to make his move in. Pycat focusing him, gets multi-gas. The General now letting the lasso go after he sees the Ursa dropping low. They'll finish him off. Pycat able to work together with Dendi and Tandem to bring FNG low to finish up main score. One more auto tech, can't quite do it, but they got the melee. Na'Vi completely flipping the script after a couple of really bad fights from Spirit. They find themselves taking a lane of racks, and potentially more.
Like, honestly, that buyback from Pycat around the Roche Pit literally could have been game losing, but it's been game winning. Such a tight window for Na'Vi, and now with one lane completely destroyed, they can go back and say, you know what, shrines are ours, more gold to line our pockets. Now we can start affording defensive items on this Ogre and this Leshrac, you know, Glimmercape, Force Staff. It's going to be what looks like a Solar Crest there as Beaver picks that one up with the Medallion, and Yule Scepter's done for the Lesh. So they have ways of disengaging and retreating, and also ways to pop that Lincoln Sphere over on the Weaver and make sure General can get the lasso on him. I've got to say though, this BZZ Weaver, sure enough, he farmed decently. Lane wasn't amazing for him because of the Ogre and the Bat Rider up at top lane, but it doesn't feel like he's had that much impact. He's had a couple of kills on supports, but he seems to die so quickly in these team fights.
Yeah, even with the Lincolns, you know, there's a lot of ways to pop it, and then a follow-up Lesh stun, Ogre stun,
Edict and Pulse Nova just, you know...
and Shadow Fiend just rips them apart with all the... or the Lifestealer with all the physical damage they bring to bear at this point. So, he can't really fence in and out of the fights as he would like, and plus Na'Vi are 5-manning. That's not really where Weaver excels. Weaver wants these small isolated skirmishes, but hold that thought, because here comes Team Spirit looking for the vacuum. Dendi gets caught, but he's able to BKB immediately. Static Storm drop down, but they just walk away from it, at least for the time being. The Requiem over the top is Pycat. Surges in, Iceberg running for dear life. Fuzzy Wuzzy on full retreat mode. Na'Vi run him down, they'll kill off the bear. They look for a fourth hero. It might well be Mr. BZZ. Lincoln's now broken, they get the lasso. The fourth kill of the fight. And Spirit completely on their heels. One lane of racks down, potentially two at this point.
It really has been the story of this game. Everything gets dumped onto Dendi, right? You know, Static Storm, Wall, the Swarm, everything onto Dendi, and then Pycat just quietly walks into the middle of Team Spirit's team and chomps them down in like 2 or 3
and
hits.
It's not a reliable initiation because he just BKBs and turns the fight around.
Yeah.
They unfortunately have not found an initiation where FNG is able to like blink crush him to start the fight. In quite some time, we haven't seen that type of jump since like the 10 to 15 minute mark.
Might look to jump on RMN, but General holds the line. Blink, Force, and Gem. Fanscore considers glimpsing someone back, but Pycat just rages and walks it all off, and that's Megas. 30 minutes in. I don't think Spirit have any way to deal with this.
Looking for the last stand fight at this point. Spirit will do what they can, but it's not a whole lot. FNG gets stunned as he jumps in. He dies immediately. Iceberg desperately trying to kill off Dendi, but it just doesn't seem possible. Iceberg stands next to Pycat, can't withstand the Lifestealer punishment. Shadow Fiend also laying into him. They'll find the kill there, and insta-GG. Na'Vi just too strong a team fight. down the stretch and putting themselves at a 1-0 advantage in this best of 3. It could be a long day for them. If they win this series, they then have to go on to play Empire and then VP waits as the final boss in the grand finals. Yeah, I still look at the way the game developed. Spirit had a really good Roshan lineup. They dominated the lanes as you would expect.
They're decent team fight. They okay catch.
They had some really bad fights after the Roshan, though. They gave up the Aegis for basically nothing. Some bad luck, like around the Roshan pit, where they didn't quite time the Vacuum Static Storm combo with the kinetic field properly. I think they hit that on 3 heroes. That's an instantly won fight. Didn't quite happen that way. But to me, like, their execution just wasn't there in the mid-game team fights. Whereas Na'Vi, late stage didn't go well, but the shot calling come mid-game, traditionally their weak spot was very good this game.
It was pretty damn crisp. Yeah, honestly, Pycat has given them a breath of fresh air in that department. But I almost feel like that Roshan fight, whoever got that Aegis was likely to win the game, just because of how Team Spirit could snowball from it, and how Na'Vi sort of stopped Team Spirit from getting that advantage for themselves. But I cannot. I'm going to have dreams and nightmares about that Pycat buyback, honestly. The way it could have swung the game either way drastically. But he was a boss in that game.
Yeah, so game 1 in the books now is a best of 3. Spirit, they got to win 2 in a row, and their day would get really long as well. We're talking about Na'Vi having a long day. It could be a lot longer should Spirit end up taking this back. Guys, we'll be back for game 2 in just a minute. You're watching the Kiev Major CIS Qualifiers. I'm LD. He's Gareth.